Live on Times Radio Breakfast, someone who we've checked in quite a few times with during the war, the Ukrainian MP Kira Rudik is with us. Morning, Kira.
Hello, good morning.
Thanks very much for your time. First of all, let's start with the situation in Mariupol. As I mentioned, many people still stuck there. The Red Cross said yesterday that they were going to try and evacuate people again after a convoy of about 54 Ukrainian buses and other vehicles were forced to turn back. We have been getting some glimpses, and you have as well, from people who have managed to get out. What horrors are there within the city?
So the main point right now of all the diplomatic works, of all the statements, of all the negotiation is to be able to get people out of the siege city. So for 3 weeks right now, people there are cut off the food, of the water, of like normal abilities to get a medical aid. People are killed on the streets, people are bombarded, and people are dying of hunger. We have all been shocked by a small diary of a girl who escaped the Mariupol along with a humanitarian convoy, when she was telling of how they were hiding in the basement with her little brother and mom and their neighbors, and how the neighbors started dying of hunger, how they were eating pigeons and then throwing up at the basement of that because like it's impossible, and how her mom died there, and then the neighbor went out to bury mom, and he was also killed, and how she was tying her brother's eyes with mom's scarf so he wouldn't see the tragedy and the misery that is happening everywhere. How she was saying how the bodies smell after a few days, and that she didn't know what to do because they were so scared to get outside, but it was so impossible to stay with the dead bodies inside the basement.
And what you've been describing there, indiscriminate shelling, cutting off an entire city from supplies and help, it is one brand of evil. Another, which we've had a glimpse of this morning, is what has been happening in some of the towns and cities and villages around Kyiv itself. In Bucha, as I mentioned, reports of people being tortured in particularly gruesome ways, and also civilians executed, bodies with their hands tied behind their back with bullets in the back of their head. I wonder what you made of those reports.
So I've been to Bucha yesterday, and what I have seen there, I will never be able to forget. So the dead bodies are on the sides of the road. Their hands are tied behind their backs, and they are shot with a single bullet on the back of their head. They are burned bodies of women who were raped and then burned, and they took at least 15 children right now with them as human shields, hoping that the Ukrainian army will not be able to follow them. There has been so many, at least 2 mass graves of civilian people whose bodies were thrown just to one place, and it was unbearable and impossible to believe that this is happening in the peaceful suburb area, that where people who live, they did nothing, absolutely nothing wrong. And what we have seen are the rooms for tortures that Russians were using, and again, for no reason, like they would be torturing them. Why? Like to get what? They were already taken the cities. They already had everything that they needed.
And why did you feel the need to go and see that, Kira? Why did you want to go and actually bear witness to that yourself?
At some point, I want to be witnessing at the court. I want to be witnessing where Putin will be prosecuted, where all the people who committed those war crimes will be prosecuted. I want the new Nuremberg process be held, and I want to be there. I want to let the world know what is happening right now and what is happening to the cities that are occupied right now by Russians. Because there is no particular reasons for these crimes to be committed. No reason. They didn't come here to get money. They didn't come here to get land. You see, like they took the city, and now they left the city. So my question is why? Why did my people have to die? Why? And I want to ask these questions. And I want people who committed those crimes to be prosecuted. and executed.
And in terms of the help that the West can give, that there's been something of a shift recently. The US has, in quite a shift to their policy, they've decided they're now going to help transport some Soviet-era tanks from some other NATO countries into Ukraine itself. And the UK, we read in the papers this morning, is mulling the idea of sending anti-ship missiles in addition to the anti-tank missiles they've already sent to Ukraine. What do you make of those reports, and how useful do you think that will be?
We are extremely grateful for all the help that we are getting. There is nothing that is excess during the war. And you see that we make a use of every single piece of weapon, every single anti-missile system, every single gun that we are getting. So the fact that on the day 38, Western countries finally decided to give us the weapon that we need is indeed a support that I'm sure will help us to fight Russians back and make sure that they would never come back and would never be able to execute on their crimes again. It's pity that it took people to die for our allies to realize that and give us what we need. It's pity that we are still not getting enough of what we need. We are still not getting the jets to fight them in the air. We are still not getting the anti-aircraft systems. Yeah. However, this is the step one, and I'm glad that we're getting this step one.
Kira, good to talk to you this morning. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. That's Kira Rudik, Ukrainian MP, someone who we've spoken to quite a few times as this conflict has raged on.